Okay. Here we go again. Take 4. Yes, you heard that right. Take 4. This is my 4th time trying to record this for you guys. Hopefully it'll work this time. Hello everybody, welcome to New Kid Tarot. My name is Sean. The channel is also called Sean Vibes. Today we are going to be doing a reading that is themed messages, healing messages for your inner teen. I have 2 brand new decks to me that I'm going to introduce you to in just a second that were the inspiration for this reading. But let me tell you about all, oh gosh, that feels good. I like that. So I'm using Casper's little Christmas blanket here for my spread cloth today. He is sleeping on my sweatshirt because I just did laundry, so it's nice and warm. And he's been sleeping on that for a couple hours, so maybe he'll make an appearance during this reading, maybe not. I hope so. It's always fun to see him. I just love having him around. But anyway, so yes, getting back to our healing messages for your inner teen. The decks we're going to be using today, this first one is by Isabella Rotman. It's called This Might Hurt Tarot. Many of you have probably seen this deck used before. It was originally an indie deck. Now it is mass market. The version I have is a mass market version, but it's the French mass market version as opposed to the English one. So all the names of the cards are in Francais. Or is it Français? I think it's Français. Anyway, and the second deck you've seen me use several times. It is my go-to. I use it for myself a lot, as well as in the videos that I do here on YouTube. It is the Wiser Tarot. It is the Waite Smith deck, recolored and published by Wiser Publishing as opposed to Writer Publishing. Now, one of the 2 decks that inspired today's reading is this one. It's an oracle card deck. It is called Believe in Your Own Magic. It's by Amanda Lovelace with artwork by Jasmina Medeiros, I think is how you say it. I don't know. But I really love this deck for a multitude of reasons. If you're not familiar with it, you will see why as we do our reading today. But some people are probably already familiar with this deck because I think it's several years old. It's just brand new to me. And then the other inspiration for today's reading is this deck, the Pulp Girls Tarot deck. It is brand new, period. At least as far as availability on Amazon, I should say it's brand new. So it just got released on Amazon in October. It may have been an indie deck first before it became mass market. I don't know. But I just got it. I actually got it 2 weeks ago, but I just opened it this week for the first time. I've done a couple of readings for myself with it. I love it. I love this one. Y'all know I love this one. And this one is growing on me. It's, you know, it's a very pleasant deck, even though it is called This Might Hurt. So I'm going to shuffle your cards for you before we start the reading. I love to let you guys see me do it, but I don't like to make you wait around for 4 to 6 minutes while I do it. So this is the part where I speed up the tape. It's not tape, it's digital. So there's got to be a better way for me to say that. This is the part where I speed up the video. Okay, so here we have our first set of messages for you guys. Oh, it looks like my whole deck was upside down. Look at that. So we had the Four of Swords. Oh no, we had the Nine of Wands. So maybe it wasn't all upside down. We'll find out in just a second. We have the Seven of Swords. So we have 2 cards in reverse because we also have the Fool. We have the Nine of Wands, the Seven of Swords, and the Fool. 4 of Swords in reverse. 9 of Wands. 7 of Swords in reverse. Sorry, 7 of Swords, and then Fool in reverse. Okay, so right off the bat, the message that I've gotten for you is that you can rest easy, okay? You have been losing not just sleep, but years of your life because of something that happened to you in your teen years that left an indelible impression on you. It's an occurrence where you've been carrying the wounds from this for decades at this point. For most of you who found this message today, you've been carrying this for decades. And so because you're carrying this with you, you haven't been able to move on and you haven't been able to fully grow up. There is an area of your life where you find yourself to be stuck a lot. And it's because of this hurt. It's because of this wound that this betrayal actually that happened to you when you were young. Someone, or when you were a teen, not even like young, like a little one, but as a teen, right? And one of the reasons why this has left such an impression on you and has caused you so much pain is because it was during the time of your life where you were starting to make your own decisions, where you were starting to have some control and agency over your own life. You were, not quite a young adult, because I consider like young adult to be 20s and older, but you weren't that young age where everybody else is making decisions for you. So there's a decision you made to do something with someone, possibly get into, it might have been something that you did with a friend, someone that you really trusted, and they convinced you to do something that you wouldn't normally have done. It was out of character for you to do this thing. It was not your normal behavior or pattern of behavior, way of thinking to do this thing. But you trusted this person. You loved this person. You believed in this person. You thought you thought that they loved you as well. And so because you trusted them and you followed them, when things went wrong, because of them actively, deliberately tricking you, deceiving you, it broke your brain. Okay, it didn't just break your heart. It didn't just hurt you. It broke your brain. You have, ever since then, you have not felt as though you could trust yourself. You have not felt as though you could trust your own instincts. You don't even really let yourself make decisions easily. So some of you who are seeing this message, you do make decisions, but you labor over it before making a choice, and then you still don't feel completely at peace with the choice that you've made, right? For others of you, you've abdicated making decisions at all. So if you're like hanging with someone nowadays, or like say it's even someone that you can trust, like say it's your mom. If you happen to have a mom you can trust, I understand that some of us do not. But if you say you're hanging out with someone that, as trustworthy as a mom should be, and y'all are just trying to decide where to have dinner, right? And you don't even weigh in on that. Okay, so again, this is not all of you, this is some of you. You, even with that, you are so afraid of making the wrong decision that you don't even make decisions on small things like where to eat. You let other people decide things. If there is something major that you need to figure out or decide what to do about something, you ask a million people before you come up with a decision. And so what that means is that a lot of times you are finding yourself again in the wrong circumstances for you, because you have taken other people's opinions on what you should do and you've done that. So you're walking their path, right? As opposed to walking your path, or you're making a decision based on what these other people said. Sometimes you've gotten so much advice from so many people that you don't even make a decision because you become paralyzed with too many options. So one of the things that has been happening to you because of this is you're actually reliving that initial hurt in a way. And here's how. In the beginning, there was someone who you thought you could trust. They convinced you to do something. You did that thing with them. They betrayed you. Turns out they were lying from the start. They did not have good intentions from the beginning. And so that left such a mark on you, the hurt of it and the consequences of whatever the action was. There might have been actual consequences. So like, say this was a situation where you were a young teenage girl and a guy convinced you to, lose your virginity to them, and you do the thing. There are big consequences that come from that choice. For some of us, it's just a broken heart. And I say just, but when you're, whatever teenage year it was for you, 14, 15, 16, 17, that broken heart seems like, and at the time for you, is the biggest thing in the world. For others, it's an even bigger consequence, like possible pregnancy, right? Possible contraction of an STD. So whatever this person convinced you to do, whether it was a romantic interest who had you do something, or it was a friend, a platonic friend, maybe even a family member that convinced you to do something, it had such a repercussion on you emotionally and mentally, but there were also the real life, real world consequences that you had as a result of that. And you've been carrying that for decades. And now, because you hesitate to make your own decisions, because you hesitate to trust yourself or trust your decisions when you do make them, you are reliving that same pain. Because when you don't make the decisions for yourself and you go and you ask a ton of people before you make a decision, then you are doing what that other person thinks you should do. And that is a mirror of what happened to you in your past. You did what someone else thought you should do. And so you, one of the messages that you are being given today is rest easy over that hurt, meaning forgive yourself. Let it be behind you. Let the past be the past. And this feeling that you've walked around with for the longest time, that you were the fool for believing that person. Our fool here is in reverse. You were not a fool. That person was a deceiver. You loved the way you're supposed to love. You loved with trust. It is not your fault. What happened to you in that situation, you didn't bring it on yourself. And you have got to let yourself learn how to trust yourself again. So I told you guys at the top of this that we had these 4 decks we were going to use. Typically when I do this kind of a reading for myself, I, start off with some tarot cards. If I need some clarification, I might do a second deck of tarot cards. So at most we'll be using another one of these tarot decks before we hit our oracle card. We will not be needing all 3, but I shuffled 3 tarot decks in case, and I just don't think we're going to end up needing all 3. Let me get you guys a little more information about this situation, if there is even more for you to get. Okay, so we have the 2 of Wands. Yeah, see, that's about choices. That's about making decisions. 2 of Wands. What other information? What other messages do we have for the collective's inner teen? We have the Knight of Cups. I love this. I love this because the Knight of Cups is about action and love, taking action in love, taking action in our emotions, our feelings. We have the Four of Pentacles. And do we have anything else to go along with this? Any other messages for these guys today? Messages for their inner teen, for their inner teen, for their inner teen. Messages for, thank you. We have the Nine of Cups. Okay. So let me take a second. I'm rearranging my legs. They're very long. And so the way I sit sometimes gets a little uncomfortable when I'm doing these things. All right. So like I said, we have the Two of Wands here, which is about choices. We have the Knight of Cups, which is about taking action in love. We have the Four of Pentacles, which is about security. And then we have the Nine of Cups. And as far as messages for your inner teen goes, with these cards, again, we have this recurring theme about you not needing to hate yourself over this anymore. You've wasted time hating yourself over this. You've wasted time feeling foolish over this, because the reality is you are just beginning to make your own decisions. When you are a teen, there is still so much about life you don't yet know. So some of us, we didn't have guidance to help us learn how to make good decisions. We might have had parents that aren't good at making decisions. Like, I don't know if y'all ever watched the show Ray Donovan, but in the show Ray Donovan, Lee Shriver's father is played by Jon Voight. And Jon Voight's father, I can't remember the character's name right now, but man, if there's a bad decision to make, this dude is going to make it. And it doesn't even matter if it's going to have negative consequences for himself or for his children. He always just makes the bad choice. That's just who he is. And you guys have been, some of you guys have been feeling as though that's who you are. Like you just make the bad choice, but that's not true. Because what happened was in the beginning, or when this situation that caused you this grave hurt, when this happened, you were a teen. You were just starting to make your own choices. And if you didn't have guidance, if you didn't have someone to help you learn how to make good decisions or to help you navigate the specific situation that you found yourself in with this person, you did the best that you could. Okay. I'm feeling like the decision that was made, the pain that you've been carrying all this time was in the realm of feelings. And it's, you know, again, you were encouraged by this person that you trusted, convinced by this person that you trusted to take a certain action in regards to love. Probably new love, possibly first love, because of the fact that you were so young. It was fragile love. And what we don't know as teens is that the majority of the relationships that we have when we're starting our romantic lives as teenagers, those don't last forever. Like most people do not marry their, we say childhood sweetheart, but it's your teenhood sweetheart, right? Most people don't stay with that person forever. So again, one more encouragement for you to forgive yourself. This is around the realm of the heart. Your heart was broken from the situation. And not only was your heart broken, your sense of security was rocked from this. And so you're so close sometimes, particularly when it comes to love. It takes you a very long time to be able to trust someone. And even when you do let someone in, you don't fully show them yourself. There's parts of yourself that you are holding to yourself, that you are keeping to yourself. It's like, no, this is mine. You can't have any of this. You can't have this part of me. And it's in order for you to continue to feel secure. And what this also does is it gives you the false feeling, the false sense of being in control of the situation. But the reality is there's so much more available to you. There's so much more love available to you. And there have been people in your life who have loved you a lot, but you've been so preoccupied with this first love. You've been so preoccupied with what happened in this situation in your past that you haven't even noticed all the love that's been available for you. There have been times where you've known someone, you know, since this initial occurrence, you've known someone, dated them, maybe even, possibly even got intimate with them, and they loved you so much. They gave you 9 of Cups level love, abundant love, but you weren't able to return that. You weren't even able to fully accept it from them because of this old hurt. Okay. And then for others of you, there have been many people who have loved you since then. But again, because your sense of yourself and your inability to trust yourself is so, your sense of yourself is so damaged, and your inability to trust yourself to you like if someone comes to you professing love or shows an interest in you, immediately your guard goes up. You are like, you know, keeping them at a distance, holding yourself to yourself. And then you also, you just don't trust them. You don't let them in. And so you start looking at them like side eye. It's almost like if someone loves you, you feel like there's something wrong with them. Or at the minimum, you feel like this is a person who's up to no good. They can't be trusted. What they're saying to me is not real. This interest they're showing in me is not real. And so you are missing out on all of the love that's available to you. Whether it's a lot of love from one person, when that happens, or it's many different people who are interested in you and you just can't even see it because your head is down, your third eye is shut, your heart is closed, and you don't have the ability to let that in right now. But you will have the ability to let that in as soon as you forgive yourself. Listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. You are a child. Teenagers don't like to think of themselves as children, and in today's society, I feel like most parents don't even like to think of their teenagers as children, but they are. They are. And if you have to think of them as an adult, if that's like something you insist on doing, then 100% know that you are a new adult in decision making, loving, intimacy, closeness, things like that. That was all brand new to you. Cut yourself some slack. Forgive yourself. Let the past be the past. You were not a fool. It was not your fault. You made the best decision you could at the time. You took an action out of love. Even if this wasn't a romantic situation that went wrong, it was your love for the person that is a part of this part of your history. Boy, is that redundant. But it was your love for that person that made you make the decision that you made, or that inspired you, that made you feel safe enough to make the decision that you made. So that heart, you need to let yourself heal that heart chakra. Heal your hurt. Forgive yourself first, and then it'll be easier to forgive that person. And you don't have to forgive them. You know, I'm not saying anything you haven't heard before. You don't have to forgive them in order to let them back into your life. You just have to forgive them so that you can move on and you can have a life that's more fulfilling for you. Okay. All right. Lastly, we are going to take a look at your oracle guidance for today. So it's a little bit more of a message to help you with this. Oh, there we go. So we have, oh, wow, look at this. Look at this, you guys. Okay, so it says villain, but underneath it says you can always rewrite the story. So that's your guidance for today for how to deal with this that we've been talking about. What you've been hearing, you know, this is called a conch shell. And when we're on the beach and we pick up a conch shell, you know, we listen to it, you know, because we like how it sounds. It sounds like the ocean inside of that shell. So there's something that you've been listening to for years since this situation happened. It's the story that you've been telling yourself about it. And you see how she's about to, let me see if I can make it so y'all can see that. Can you see that? Right? See how she's about to smash that. Smash that story that has been going on in your mind over and over and over again. The version where you're the victim. It was a lesson. It was a painful lesson. It was a life lesson. But you get to reframe it. And you're being encouraged here with this card to reframe how you look at that situation and what you experienced then. And most importantly, here where it says rewrite the story, most importantly, rewrite how you see yourself in that story. Instead of seeing yourself as the victim or the fool, because I feel like the majority of you guys have been feeling like you were a fool. I don't think you're walking around with like a victim mentality. The majority of the people who are listening to this right now, you haven't been going around for decades thinking that you were the victim. You feel foolish, and it's because you've been blaming yourself. You haven't been, if you were blaming the other person, you would have been thinking of yourself as the victim. But you've been blaming yourself, not the other person. So you haven't been seeing yourself as a victim. You've been seeing yourself as a fool. And you are being encouraged to rewrite the story. Reframe how you see yourself in this. And, you know, here it says villain. Because you've been blaming yourself, you have been seeing yourself as the villain of this story as well as the fool. Right? So stop thinking of yourself in such harsh terms and recast yourself. Some of you know that I am an actor, and in acting, or you might know this even if you don't know anything about me as an actor, but in acting, you know, when you get a job, it's called being cast. You know, I'm sure everybody who's listening to this has heard of the term typecast. You'll say that someone's been typecast. They get cast as the same role over and over. So, yeah, this is encouraging you to recast yourself. Instead of calling yourself the villain or calling yourself the fool, because this is in reverse. You are not a fool. Recast yourself as the learner, the seeker, I a little bit hesitate to say this, but the wounded one, because if you can identify yourself as the wounded one, you can help yourself to heal. And the reason why I hesitated is because I feel like calling yourself wounded is very close to calling yourself a victim. And when we start calling ourselves a victim, it's easy to fall into self-pity. And when we fall into self-pity, it makes it harder to heal, to move forward. But 100%, you are being told, not your fault, not a fool, new at making decisions. Go ahead and relax about it. Let yourself let love in. And recast yourself. Stop calling yourself the villain. Stop calling yourself the fool. Stop hating yourself is your main message here. And when you stop hating yourself, you will be able to let others love you, whether it's romantic love or any other kind. I don't think I can say anything more profound than that. So that's what I got for you today, you guys. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. Okay, so here we have our first set of messages for you guys. Oh, it looks like my whole deck was upside down. Look at that. So we had the Four of Swords,